Above the clouds, beyond the weather, above the noise of the living earth, something ancient stirs. Silent waves of green and red light ripple and twist across the polar skies. From space, they look like living veins of light, vast, luminous rivers coursing through the upper atmosphere. From the ground, they appear like drapes of flame, descending from the stars themselves. For millennia, these strange lights have stirred the human imagination. They flicker without warning. They appear where the world is coldest. They dance without sound, yet command attention like thunder. Some call them the northern and southern lights. Science calls them auroras. But behind their beauty lies a story far more dramatic, a tale of solar fire, invisible shields, and the electromagnetic heartbeat of our planet. This is a story not only about what we see in the sky, but about the unseen, the forces that shape our world, protect it, and occasionally remind us of just how dynamic and alive the universe truly is. Today, we'll journey beyond the clouds, beyond the atmosphere, to witness the aurora's secret, the hidden dance between the Earth and the Sun, choreographed by magnetism and painted in light. Long before we had satellites or solar observatories, people stood beneath strange glowing skies and told stories. In the Arctic North, the Sami people believed the lights were the souls of the dead or the breath of mighty beasts. In East Asia, ancient scholars thought they were celestial dragons battling across the heavens. In medieval Europe, they were omens, signs of great change or impending doom. And in more modern times, they became a symbol of the mysterious, the unexplained, the cosmic. These myths and legends weren't just the result of imagination. They were the natural response to something so unworldly, so otherworldly, that even today, seeing an aurora can feel like a supernatural experience. A glowing sky with no fire, a moving shape with no form, a light with no source. But eventually, science began to peel back the layers. As our understanding of electricity, magnetism, and astronomy evolved, so too did our explanation of these lights. The aurora, it turns out, is not magic, but it is no less incredible. It is a message, not from gods, but from the sun itself. At the heart of this phenomenon is the star that gives us life, the sun. To us, it may appear as a steady, golden disk in the sky, but in truth, it is a boiling, magnetic cauldron of plasma. Deep within its core, nuclear fusion generates an unfathomable amount of energy that travels outward, finally reaching the surface and blasting into space in all directions. This stream of charged particles, protons, electrons, and ions, is known as the solar wind. It flows constantly, carrying with it fragments of the sun's magnetic field, creating an ever-changing, dynamic environment in space. But sometimes, the sun grows restless. Giant sunspots emerge. Loops of magnetic energy snap. And when that happens, the sun releases coronal mass ejections, gigantic explosions of solar material that can hurl billions of tons of plasma toward Earth. These solar storms are fast and fierce. They can travel across the 150 million kilometers between the sun and Earth in just a couple of days. And when they arrive, they crash into something just as invisible, but just as powerful, Earth's magnetic shield. Beneath your feet, at the center of our planet, a molten ocean of iron and nickel churns in constant motion. This motion generates a magnetic field, not unlike the field around a bar magnet, except far more complex. This is Earth's magnetosphere, and it stretches tens of thousands of kilometers into space. This field acts as our protector. Without it, the solar wind would strip away our atmosphere, just as it did to Mars long ago. But the magnetosphere does more than shield us. It shapes how we interact with the sun. As the solar wind crashes into this magnetic field, the field deforms. It compresses on the sun-facing side and stretches out into a long magnetic tail on the dark side of Earth. And here, in this magnetic tail, tension builds. Field lines stretch, snap, and reconnect, flinging charged particles back toward the poles at incredible speeds. These particles spiral down along Earth's magnetic field lines, like beads on a string, descending toward the polar regions where they will meet the upper atmosphere. And there, the dance begins. As these high-energy particles plummet into the upper layers of Earth's atmosphere, between 80 and 300 kilometers above the surface, they collide with molecules of oxygen and nitrogen. These collisions excite the atmospheric particles, giving them energy that they cannot hold for long. When the molecules release this energy, they emit light. Not just any light, but the colors of the aurora. Green, the most common color, comes from oxygen at lower altitudes. Red, more rare and subtle, emerges when oxygen is hit higher in the atmosphere. Blue and purple hues come from nitrogen molecules, adding depth and variety to the glowing tapestry. The result is more than just light. It's movement. The Earth's magnetic field and the patterns of the solar wind shape the aurora into bands, arcs, and curtains. Sometimes they sway slowly, like silk caught in a breeze. Other times, they burst into wild, flickering pulses, filling the sky with motion and color. Every display is different. Every aurora is a fingerprint of that moment in space, of solar wind speed, magnetic strength, atmospheric condition. A painting drawn by invisible forces in real time. Why do we only see auroras in certain places? The answer lies in Earth's magnetic field lines. These lines converge near the poles, creating pathways for charged solar particles to reach the atmosphere. The result: two glowing rings, called auroral ovals, encircle the magnetic north and south poles. These ovals shift and stretch depending on solar activity. During calm times, they stay close to the poles, lighting up skies in places like Alaska, Canada, northern Scandinavia, and Antarctica. But during strong solar storms, the ovals expand and the lights descend to lower latitudes. People in New York, Paris, or even northern Africa have, on rare occasions, seen the sky blaze with green and red. These rare auroras remind us that the dance is not confined to the cold edges of our world. When the sun truly speaks, its voice is heard far and wide. Yet for all its beauty, the aurora is also a signal of power, of warning. The same solar storms that produce breathtaking auroras can disrupt satellites, damage spacecraft, and interfere with communication systems. A powerful enough solar storm could cripple our modern world. In 1859, the Carrington event unleashed a storm so intense it ignited telegraph wires, shocked operators, and lit up skies across the entire globe. In our digital age, a similar event could knock out satellites, power grids, GPS, and internet infrastructure, costing billions and potentially paralyzing entire continents. That's why scientists monitor the sun around the clock. Solar observatories, space weather satellites, and magnetic sensors all work in unison to track activity and issue warnings. The aurora, then, becomes more than spectacle. It becomes data. It becomes diagnosis. Earth is not alone in this dance. Jupiter, Saturn, and even Uranus and Neptune all host powerful magnetic fields and dynamic atmospheres. Their auroras are immense, some of them hundreds of times larger than Earth's. Observed by the Hubble Space Telescope and interplanetary probes, these distant light shows echo the same forces at work here: solar wind, magnetic fields, atmospheric collisions. Even Mars, with its weak magnetic remnants, shows localized auroral activity. Where there is a star to storm and a planet to protect itself, auroras can happen. The dance of light is a language of the solar system, and we, here on Earth, are lucky enough to witness it up close.